Welcome to Halogenous Ideas. We are back again with another beginner tutorial where you will learn to build a weather application using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We will be using a CSS preprocessor called SAS. Don't worry, this tutorial is for beginners, so even if you don't have any prior knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or SAS, you can still follow along. We will be using a weather data provider called WeatherAPI. This is where all the weather data will be coming from, and we will be retrieving them using the JavaScript fetch API. You will be learning a lot from this tutorial, so I advise you to pay undivided attention. We will be creating a GitHub repository where we are going to be uploading the final result, and we are also going to be hosting it with GitHub. We generate a link so you can share the finished applications with your friends and your potential employers. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates and also to support us. That being said, let's jump into the business for today. So the first thing we want to do, I'll go to my GitHub account, create a repository. So this is my GitHub page, github.com/chrishalogen. Then I'll create a new repository. So I can call this weather app. So then don't add any description, don't add a readme file, just create a repository. Okay, so this is the new repository over here. So I'm going to be pulling this repository to my local computer. I'll do all the coding I have to do inside this repository, then I'll push inside this folder, then I'll push it back to GitHub when we are done. So I'll show you everything. It's very simple. So how do you do that? I'll come to my command prompt. So I'm using terminal. On Windows there is the native command prompt CMD. Yes. So this is CMD over here, but I love the terminal. So you can go to Microsoft Store, you download the terminal. So this is the terminal over here. This is what you get normally when you open the terminal fresh. Let me close the terminal and open it again. So this is what you get. Command prompt. So navigate to I'm going to navigate to a folder where I'm going to be pulling that repository to. So I'm in downloads. Then if I check I should have a new folder somewhere. Okay, yes, new folder. So cd new folder. Okay, very good. So yeah, I can put the repository to this folder. I think this is the folder over here, this folder over here. So I think I did a tutorial using this, so I can just remove it. So this folder over here, that is what I want to work with. So me pulling that repository, I need a couple of things. So I'll just say git clone, then https dot slash slash. So my account username Chris Halogen. Then I need an access token. So come back to GitHub, come to settings. We are looking for an access token. So developer settings. Then come to personal access tokens classic. Then you'll see all the tokens you've created before now. Generate a new token. Generate new token. Okay, it's asking for my password, so just okay. So the token, I can say weather application tutorial. Then I can select some. This one can actually expire. I can just say custom. What is today's date? Today is 2nd of November. It should expire on the 3rd of November. So that will be 11/03 2023. Okay, so that's when I want it to expire, just a day. Well, I can just tick some of all this. For this particular access token, you're just giving it some few capabilities. So just I think the most important one is this repo. This is exactly what we need. This repo, I think that's the most important one. Then if you don't want to host your finished application on GitHub, you can just make do with a folder, any folder you create on your laptop. But I think this is better. So okay, so that is my access token. Then after that, I'll say at github.com slash Chris Halogen slash ZB. No, that will be the name of the repository. So no, um, the repositories. Um, your repositories. The name of the repository that I just created. Yes, weather app. No, I can just type it. I'm being lazy. Weather app. I hope I'm correct. Weather app. Okay, very good. So weather app dot git. So this command that I have over here, if I should bring it here, it will pull the repo to my laptop. You can see you appear to have cloned an empty repository. Yes, that is how it should be. So this is the empty repository. This particular GitHub repo that I just created. So this is the folder over here. So everything I'm doing, I'll do it in this folder. Then when I'm done, I'll just upload the folder directly. So open the folder. Then you can just open with code. So it will open that particular folder in VS Code. Another way you can achieve this, if I close this, is to come here, you cd into weather app, then you code space period, and it will load VS Code for you. So two ways to do the same thing. Okay, so now that we have the repository working fine, I'm going to be creating some files. The first one I'm going to be creating is the index.html. If you are going to be hosting using GitHub Pages at the end, so I'll suggest you leave it as index.html. So then after this, let me create a readme.md file. So I can say weather application tutorial. So this is a tutorial uploaded to Halogenous Ideas YouTube channel that teaches how to teaches how to create a weather app using HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript. No, JavaScript. Okay, very good. So I will. Let us be orderly. CSS, then JavaScript. Okay. So this is all the content that I have on my readme.md file. So okay, this content that I have over here is what will be describing the repository at the end. I'll show you when we get there. But for now, just leave it here. So on your end, you don't necessarily have to add tutorial to your own. Lord, let me remove it. Okay. Well, there's no need actually. Just on your end, you don't have to add tutorial. Okay, and you have to make this description um, different from what I have over here. Okay, so this is index.html. Then let me say I'll create another file. Let me say main.css. Then actually it is main.scss that I want to create because I'll be using Sass. So if you don't have any prior knowledge of Sass, it's totally fine. So come here, we're also going to be doing index.js. Okay, So um, we are going to be working on the front end first. I like to partition my screen into two. So I'll be writing my HTML here, then I'll be writing my CSS here. So HTML, no, index.js. This is not what I'm supposed to write. This is what I'm supposed to write. So HTML, come to HTML5. So you can say the title is weather application outside. Application. Save this. Then you can see I'm working with format on save, so that is why I formatted the code. So for me to link my CSS, I can just do something like so mind you, you don't have to create this CSS file manually. Automatically, main.css, the SAS compiler will compile everything to a main.css file. So there's a video I have on the channel that explains my setup for VS Code, so you can just check the video out. But basically, what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be needing the live server and the live SAS compiler, then the prettier. So just come to the extensions marketplace, you're installing the prettier extension, the live server, then the live SAS compiler. So set your VS Code to format on save, and you choose prettier as your default formatter. So that is all you have to do basically. So this is the live this is the SAS file over here. If you click on watch SAS, me clicking on watch SAS, it has automatically done the first compile. So main.scss. Okay, let me link the CSS file. So you say link, and I want to link a CSS file. Please learn to use shortcuts to make your work way easier and faster. So the terminal command, then main.css. So normally some people will ignore this. No, sorry, Z link CSS. So some people will rather just say main.css, but there are some web hosting platforms that won't accept this from you. So you have to use the terminal command. This is the safest way to link your CSS. If I want to link my JavaScript file, I can just say scripts, then you choose this src option, then index.js. Okay, so you save this. Yes, save this. So for us to check if the CSS is working, I can just say h1 testing, save. Then for this one, h1, the color is going to be what? Red. So I'm going to be using the live server. I'll just go live. So you see testing, so the CSS is working. To check if the JavaScript is working, what I have to do is very simple. All I have to do is to, no, this is not where I will work on. So just come to index.js. I can just bring my JavaScript somewhere down here. Yes, so this will be my JavaScript. I can just do something like console.log ready, save. Mm. So come here, Control Shift I to open your developer console. Come to console, you can see ready. So well, my HTML and my CSS files are linked to the my CSS and JavaScript files are linked to the HTML. So I guess I'm good to go. So well, we can start working on the user interface first, then later we'll work on the JavaScript. So I can close the JavaScript for now. So let's go and work on the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. Okay. Okay. So come back to VS Code. Okay. I want to bring in the fonts that we are going to be using. So there's this platform that Google released. We call it Google Fonts fonts.google.com. Okay, so if you go to fonts.google.com, you have thousands of fonts freely available for you to use. So you can see different fonts over here. We have the Open Sans, so they call this one Agbalumo font. So we have so many fonts that you can use. Lato, Poppins, Inter is in use widely. So the font that we want to use, we have the Playfair display. The Playfair display. No, it shouldn't be plat. It should be Playfair display. Yes, Playfair display. So this ordinary one. Yes, this is what we want to use. So this Playfair display, they're going to be adding the weight of 700. This Playfair display, you're going to be adding the one that the weight is. You can see this bold over here. So select the bold. So it will give you ways by which you can link it together with your HTML document. You can either use the link tag in your HTML file, or you use the CSS import. CSS import is what we are going to use, but this is not the only font we are going to be using. This is basically going to be the title font. So the next font we are going to be using is Fira Sans. Fira Sans. Both fonts are available on um, both fonts are available on Google Fonts, so you can just go there and select it. The one I'm using, just the regular font is what I want. This regular over here. Okay, this regular one. That's what I want. So you can see the font dismiss. So you can see the font that we are choosing: Playfair display, bold 700. The font weight is 700. Then the second one is Fira Sans. So this is going to be the title text, while this is going to be the body text. Basically, those are the only two fonts that we are using. So, and you can see the CSS rule over here. So this import this import statement is what we're going to be using. Just copy it, come to the SAS file and paste it over here. So Alt Z on your keyboard. If you click Alt Z, it is going to wrap the words. So if I should, you can see I have to scroll to the end of the window before I can be able to see everything. But I like to see everything at once. So Alt Z, you see everything at once. It will just wrap it. So that's the second line. Okay, that is the first thing that we are doing. Then we have to declare some variables. This is one of the advantages SAS has over regular CSS. So I can just declare my first variable. I can say the main background color is going to be FFFFFF. So these variables, you can use it throughout your CSS. These variables, you can use it throughout your CSS. Then we have the soft background color. So this soft background color is going to be EE F0 F2. Then we have the dark background color. So this dark background color, I'm supposed to put this. So, and there's supposed to be this one here. For this dark background color, I'm going to be having D A D E E then 1. So then the text colors. For the text colors, for the colors themselves, not background colors, we have the dark color. So for this dark color, I'm going to be having 1B, 1F, 2, 4. Yes. So then for the main color, I'm going to be having 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Then for the soft color, I'm going to be having for the soft color, I'm going to be having B1, B1, B1. Okay, so B1, B1, B1. In addition to this, I also want to add something we refer to as a mixin for the media queries. So it will make it easier for us to write media queries. So mixins are basically, if you know any server-side programming language and JavaScript too, if you understand JavaScript, what we call functions in JavaScript. So mixins can be referred to as functions for SAS. So basically there are functions you write at some point, then you need them in your as you write your code, you just call them. So below screen is going to be the name of my function. So I'm going to declare a variable here, the screen size. So whatever the user gives me as the screen size, I'm going to be writing at media. I'm going to be using it to write the media query. So I can just say max width. The maximum width is going to be whatever the user should give me as the screen size. Okay, so then I can just come here and say at content. Yes, so that is that about that. Then before we start writing the css proper, I'm going to be margin will be 0, then padding will be 0. Also the box sizing will be border box, no, border box. Box sizing will be border box. Then the other one, I want to do the body. Now don't forget that this header that I have over here, this header, I have two fonts here. One is the Playfair Display, the other one is the Fira Sans. So Playfair Display is going to be the title text, while Fira Sans is going to be the body text. So I can just add it to the body. Instead of adding it individually to every element, I can just add it to the body. So if you come to Google Fonts, you see the rule over here, Fira Sans. So just copy this, then add it to your body. Okay. Now if I save this, you can see it was a success, so my code is not shouting. If I come here and let me show you main.css, let me show you what it looks like. So you can all the css that we've written so far, this is what it compiled everything to. It is not adding the variables to this, and it is not adding the mixing obviously, but when we write the media query, I will come back here to show you what the media query will amount to in this place. So well, that will be all for starting the css. So let's start working on the html. Let me add a comment here, javascript file. Okay, so okay, now let us start working on the html. I'm going to need an div dot outer container. Okay, so this outer container is going to be having no container. Okay, then inside I'm going to be having a grid container. So that grid container is what is going to be splitting the view into two. So grid, no, so let me actually show you a picture of what we are doing. So if you come to documents, now weather app index, yes, this index, more applications. I just installed my Windows, so look for another app on the PC. No, don't let me look for another app. So I think this is what, yes, Google Chrome. So you see what we have, so this is what we are trying to do. So the outer container is what is going to be doing this. So this a bit dark portion is what will handle the outer container. So this is going to handle the summary, while this is going to handle the data changes. So if I come here and do something like Oslo, okay, I think I didn't add the JavaScript to this. The JavaScript is not working yet, but don't worry. The one we are working on now, it will change the JavaScript. We will use JavaScript to change the data. But basically, this is what we are trying to achieve. This is what we are trying to achieve. So you can see the background now. So this outer container that I have, this outer container is what is responsible for this over here. This, but the grid container is what I'm going to be using to split the outer container into two. So you can see I have this part, then I have this part. So that is the grid container. Come back here. So inside the grid container, I'm going to be having dot summary, and I'm also going to be having dot details. Okay, so if I come back here, no. So this is where we are having the summary. Why this is where we are having the details. So come back here. Now I'm going to be writing all the elements for the summary first. Then I'll come back to the details. So if I save this, come back to the summary. Now at the summary, at the top we are having a form. The form has an ID of form. So you don't need the action. You can just say role equal to form. So for this one, we are going to be needing something. We are going to be needing an input of type text. Now this input of type text, the name is going to be location. Name is going to be location alt seed, so you can wrap everything for me. Then the ID is also going to be location. Okay, name is location, the ID is location. Then the placeholder will be search location, then three dots. So if I come back here, if I come here, you can see this form over here. You can see search location. Then we have this search icon that we have over here. I'll show you how we fix the search icon there. So come back here, then we can have something like a submit button. So button, for the button, submit. So inside the submit button, I'll be having the image. So this particular image, I can just come here and say search location. So many people ignore this alternative text, but it's actually important for SEO. So please always add your alternative text um, to your image tags. So we have to copy two images that we're going to be needing. So if you come to assets, I'm going to be needing this and this. So you can just go to the repository where this particular code will be uploaded. So if you come to downloads, new folder, the weather app, you can come here, create a new folder. The folder's name will be assets. So inside assets, then you can paste it. If you come to VS Code, you see we have a new folder, assets. Then you can just, you see the demo and the search. So you can just come here, assets, then search.png. So search location exactly. So that will be for the form. I want to add all the elements for this part, then we'll style it at once. So we also have this image over here for the weather. Then we have the weather itself, the figures. We have the description, the local time, the town, the region, and all those. So come back here. So I have img. So for this img, the default is going to be asset, then demo. I don't need this one. Okay, so you can say image or weather image. Okay, so you can add an id of weather image. Okay, so after adding that one, we are going to be adding a temperature. So the temperature basically is this one over here. So this and this is basically that. So for the temperature, I'm going to be using a paragraph tag that is going to be having a class of temperature. Okay, for this temperature I'm going to be having a span.figure. This span.figure, then the id is also going to be figure. So let me just use 31 for just for the placeholder. Then we have another span. This span has a class of degree, so this degree is going to be just 0, one small 0. Then we have another span. As for this span, the class is going to be the units, so it's going to be Celsius. So if you come back to our weather application, you can see how everything is just disorganized, but don't worry, we'll fix everything in no time. So after the temperature, we need description, which is basically this description over here. So we can close this, we don't need it anymore. Actually, we do need it a bit. Fonts.google.com. We need to copy we need to let me do as if I add this one. Okay, so yes, this is what I need. Sometimes I have to add play for a display. Okay, it's just serif. So come back here. Okay, so after this we are going to be having a span tag, span.description. Okay, so for this span tag it's going to be mostly cloudy, just a placeholder for there. So I don't think we need to do this. Okay, so the description, then the local time. I think the local time I might just use a paragraph. Then the class is going to be local time. Then it's going to also have an ID of local time. So for this class of local time and ID of local time, I can just do something like the local time. Then I'll add a line break and put day. Okay, so after this, the last one we are going to be having is the location. So for the location, I can do something like another paragraph. The class is going to be location. Then location, the ID can be something like location bold, or because it's going to be bold actually. So inside this one I want to have town comma region, then a line break, country. Okay, so if I save this and I'll come back to my application over here, you see I have everything here, so I can start styling them now. Don't forget, what I'm styling is just this part and the background. This part is still going to be empty because we've not added anything here basically. Okay, so let us start styling them. So to style them, I'm going to be having dot outer container. So outer container, basically I'm targeting this outer container over here. The outer container that I'm targeting is this container over here. Okay, so this outer container, what do I want it to, no, this outer container, what do I want it to have? I want it to have a width of 100%. So then it's going to be having a minimum height of maybe 100 viewport height. I can just give it a maximum width, although it's not necessary, of 400 pixels. This is not necessary, but you can just add it. Okay, so the background color I'm going to be using the dark color. If you remember the variable that we used here, this dark color over here. So come here, you can just come here, the dark color. So for the background color, then I will also display it as flex. I will justify content to center, then I will align items to center. So if you save this, come back to main.css, see the way it compiles everything for you. So you can see the variable that we added. So that is how it works basically. So if I come back here, no, if I come back here, you can see what I'm having now. So it's gradually coming to shape. Okay, so come back to this one. Now if you look at this, I'm having this outer container. Then inside this outer container I'm having the grid container. Okay, so I can just come here to select it, dot grid container. So for this grid container, the width is going to be 100%, but the maximum width is going to be 1024 rather pixels. Let's remove this, we don't need it. It's actually going to deform it on a very big screen. So 1024, then I can give it a height of maybe 85 viewport height. Okay, just to be discreet. Then display it as grid. That is the grid container now that is going to split the whole system into two. So then the grid template column, I can do something like 400 pixel auto. So overflow y, please hide it for me, hidden. Okay, so if I save this and I come back to my code, you see I've partitioned everything into two, but it is hiding some of the content I have over here. I don't want it to overflow. So this image is becoming too big. We will control the size so you can see this other part and this other part. Okay, so come back here. Inside the grid container, we are going to be having, don't forget, inside the grid container we have the summary and we have the details. So now I can target this summary in peace. So the summary, so for the summary, the background color is going to be the main background. If I save this and I come back here, you can see this background color, the color is what? The main background, which is white. If you come back to the variables, the main BG is what? FFFFFF, which is basically white. Okay, moving on, I can have something like the padding of 2 rem. I love to use rem. So now let us control the form. The form, I'm going to be displaying the form as a grid. Then one thing I failed to explain the other time is this grid template column. So if you come to this design that we have over here, the grid template column, this is 400 pixels. So basically this summary part, we take 400 pixels. No matter the width of the screen, it will take 400 pixels. Then whatever is left is remaining. This other part we take it. That is why I'm having 400 pixels then auto. So come back here. But in the case of this form over here, I'm going to be using auto then 3 rem. no, grid template columns auto, then 3 rem. Okay, so basically if you come here for the form, I'm going to be having auto then 3 rem. So this is going to be taking 3 rem, while this is going to be taking whatever is left, this is going to be taking it. Okay, so moving on, the background color. Okay, I want the gap between the elements. I want it to be 1 rem. Then the background color, I want the background color to be the soft bg. So the border, I can do something like 2 pixels solid, then that's dark bg. Okay, I can do a padding of 0.5 rem, then maybe a border radius of 2 rem, a border radius of 2 rem. If I save this and I come back to my design, you can see what I have for now. The reason why this form is looking so bad is because of this icon over here, but don't worry, we will control the icon very soon. So the input type of text, we are going to be using the attribute selector, if you remember your attribute selector. So style the button first, so we get that one out of the way. So the button I want to style is this one over here, this button over here. So for the button, I'm going to be having a width of 100%. So it's going to be occupying 100% of 3 rem. So basically the width is going to be 3 rem. Don't forget, the first element is going to be taking auto, the second element is going to be taking 3 rem. So basically this is going to be taking auto 3 rem. So the computer is going to select 3 rem and dedicate it to this button. Then that is the web browser rather. Then the input, basically this input is going to be taking whatever is left. So the width is going to be 100%. Then I don't want it to have any border. Then I don't want it to have any outline. No border, no outline. Then the background color, I want it to be transparent. So display as flex. Then justify the content center. Then align the items center. So let me call your attention to something. There is this concept of DRY in programming, which means don't repeat yourself. So if you look at what I did here, display flex, justify content center, align item center. I come here, display flex, justify content center, and align item center. You can see that I'm repeating myself, but there is one thing we can do. Imagine that I have so many justify center, align center that I'm going to be writing. Instead of that, I can just come here and write a mixing. I can just say flex center center or flex center. So I can just come here, display flex, justify content center, and align item center. So come here, paste this. Then instead of using justify content center, align item center, I can just come here and do something like at include flex, then center. Then you come here and do the same thing as well. If I save this, you can see it compiles properly. If you come to the CSS, you can see display flex center. You can see display justify content align items. So if you come here also, you can see display flex, no, display flex, justify content, and align items. Everything is working just fine. So it is one way to reduce the amount of code you have to write on the long run. So this is actually very advisable. So for the button, I can have a padding of maybe 0.25 rem. Then the cursor the cursor is going to be pointer. Okay, the cursor will be pointer. Now to the image that is causing all the this image that is causing the commotion, so we can just have the img. Don't forget the image is inside the button, so you can see this button, this is the image. So I can just say the width is 0.21. No, I can say 1.5 rem. Then the height is also 1.5 rem. If I save this, come back to the css, you see the way to compile everything for me. See the way it's targeting each and every element. So width of 1.5, height of 1.5. If I come back here, you can see you can see what it looks like now. So it is looking way better now. So look at the original, then look at, I don't want to say the fake. Look at the original, then look at the fake. So just let us style this input type of text. So come to main.css, then okay, I can close the button basically. So input, then using the attribute selector, type equal to text. Okay, so I can say background color should be transparent, then the border will be none, the outline will also be none. Okay, then I can say the font size should be 1 point maybe 25 rem. It shouldn't be too small. Then padding, I can do something like 0.5 rem. So this will be padding top, padding left, padding right, and padding bottom basically. So the width is going to be 100%. Save this, come here, you see this is looking sparkling white, just the same way this other one is. So if you come here, you try to type anything. So we are done with this basically, so we can move on to this and the other one. So let's continue with this. Let's continue with this. So for the image, I can do something like I can close the form now, so I'm free to close the form. So I can do something like img dot weather image. What am I doing? Okay, I'm supposed to use the ID. So the API is what is going to be giving us the weather data service provider will be giving us the links. That is this images. This image over here. It is the weather service provider that is going to be giving it to us. So let us just this is a type of image it can give you. That's the reason why I just downloaded it as a demo. So come back here, then the img slash weather image. To start, you can just say max width should be 3 rem. Then also the max height will be what? 3 rem. Okay, then the margin will be maybe 2 rem. Then auto, then display it as block, because if you don't display it as block you'll run into issues. You will not be able to align it center. Okay, so basically margin top and margin bottom is going to be 2 rem, margin left and margin right is going to be auto. So it is the margin left and right that will put it in the middle, that will center it. Then the display block is, it will make sure that the image spans to the end of the container. So if I save this, come here, you can see the image is in position. That is the image is in position. it is this auto over here that is putting it in the center. Then the margin top and bottom is what is giving it the margin to the element on top, and the margin to the element that will be below it. So the max width and the max height is basically talking about the size of the image itself. Okay, so now let us work on this temperature over here. Let us work on this temperature over here. So for the temperature, um, what do we have? Okay, 31 degrees Celsius. Um, we are going to be having, let me just say p dot temperature. Okay, so for this temperature, I can say margin top should be maybe 1.5 rem. Okay, then align the text center, text align center, align the text center. So I can just say, you can see that I have figure, degree, and units. So starting with the figure, dot figure. For this figure, I can do something like a line height of 0. So the reason why I have to use a line height of 0 is because if you take a good look at Playfair display, where is Playfair display? Now this Playfair display, it's a bold font. Obviously, it's going to be having some space on top of it because it is very bold. But with the line height 0, I've killed the space totally, so it will not deform my design. Come back here, line height is 0. Then the font size is going to be 6 rem, so it is going to be very big. 6 rem is 6 times 16. So that would be 6 times 16, 6 times 16 times 5 should be 80 plus 16, that is 96 pixels. So the font weight will be bold. Then now the font family, this font family is going to be Playfair display. Playfair display. I can't be typing this with my hand, so I can actually use SAS to rescue myself from what I got myself into. So instead of writing, because I'm going to be writing Playfair display at one particular point also, actually two more, actually more than two safe. So what I can do is I can just take this one out, come up, write a mixing at mixing. So you can say fonts Playfair. Okay, so just put it inside. So anywhere I need to use the Playfair display, I'll just include font Playfair. So just come here at include font Playfair, and I can think of better things to do with my life. Color, then the dark color. Okay, so don't forget, according to the variables we declared, you can see the dark color and the dark BG, they are two different colors. So I'm using the dark color for the font color. So basically this font color over here, this font, the color is what I'm using. Okay, so now that is the figure for you. For the degree, dot degree. Now for the degree, font size, you can do something like 1 rem. Then the transform, I can do something like translate y. Okay, now this translate y, I'll give it a negative 1.5 rem. Then I'll display it as inline block. The reason why I have to display it as inline block is because this translate is not going to, by default, the span tag displays inline and translates y. I can, this transform property that I added over here will not be effective on it if it is displaying as inline. So I have to display it as inline block. Okay, if I save this and I come here to see what I have so far, you can see I have 31 degrees centigrade, and you can see the playfair display font. Then all these ones are Fira Sans. So the reason why those ones are taking Fira Sans automatically is because I've added it to the body. So all the font families, except the fonts where I specify the font playfair, every other one is going to be Fira Sans. Okay. So this is degree. Then we have the units. Dot units. So for this unit I can do something like the font size should be maybe 1 rem, then this one will transform rather, then translate y, maybe let's do -3 rem. No, that is for the, this is 1 rem. Okay, let me do 3 rem for this one. This is supposed to be -3 rem. Okay, -3 rem. So this one is going to be 1.5 rem. Okay, -1.5 rem. Font size is going to be 1 rem. No, this should be 2.5 actually. 2.5 rem. Then the translate y is going to be -1.5 rem, and I have to display as inline block as well. So the translate, so that this transform property can be effective. Come back here. So you can see I'm done with this. So let us work on the description, which is this one that I have over here. Let's work on it. So for the description, I can close the temperature so I can see what I'm doing. Span dot description. So for this description now, what do I want to do? I want the margin top. To be 0.75 rem. Okay. Then the text align should be center. I can do a font size of maybe 0.85 rem. I want it to be slightly smaller. I will display it as block. So that the text align center will actually bring the text to the center. Then after displaying it as block, what else do I want to do? I can do the color should be soft color. It should be soft color. Then I can do margin bottom, maybe 1.5 rem. Okay. If I save this and I come back to the design, so you can see mostly cloudy. So we've sorted that one out, mostly cloudy. Okay. So then after that one, we work on the local time, then the location, and we are done with this. Local time and location. So to work on the local time, we can just do local hyphen time. So for this local time, I can do something like the color should be main color. The color should be main color. Then I can say the font size should be 1 rem. Then text align can be center. Okay, text align can be center. The margin bottom will be 1.5 rem. Let me save this, come back here. Okay, local time, is that what I have here? Okay, yeah, so the last one is just this town, region, then country. So come here, don't forget town, region and country is under location. Okay, it's under location. So I can just say dot location. So for the location, I can say font size font size 1.5 rem. The font weight is supposed to be bold. Then the font family is going to be Playfair display, so at include Playfair, font Playfair rather. So I can just add a line height of 1.5 to this one, line height of 1.5, then text align center, then the color is going to be the main color going to be the main color. Okay, this color over here. So if I save this, come back, you can see it's in the middle, working fine. So that is all about this one over here. So let's work on this other part. Come here, you can see this other part over here, this other part. So to work on that, all we have to do is very simple. We have to add some things to our HTML file. So let me close this part. So for these details, let us start adding the elements. To add the elements, the first thing I'm going to be having is a p tag, which is intro. Okay, today's weather data. Today's weather data. Okay, so today's weather data. I can create an inner grid. So if you take a good look at the design that we are following, you can see this thing that I have over here now. This is the p tag. Then we are having a grid that will house the whole of these ones that is here. So the whole of these ones, div dot inner grid. Okay, inner grid. So that is the inner grid. Um, then we're going to be having single. Um, can do something like dot single. So this single basically is going to represent like each of the boxes that we have over here. That single will represent each of the boxes. So each of the boxes is going to be having, now if you take a good look at the boxes, some of them are having this one that we have under here and some of them are not having. So basically I'll make room for this for all of them, but depending on the data that we have, for these ones that are going to be on top, it will not have that. So come here for single. I can say title, value and third. So p dot title plus p dot value plus p dot third. You cannot be using VS Code. You should know all these shortcuts. If you are not using all these shortcuts for VS Code, you need to know them. So for the first one, I think we have temperature in Celsius. Okay. So that is for the first one. Then the value, we can just put something like 30. No, what am I doing? 30. Then for this third, just leave it empty. So we are going to be having nine of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 9. We are going to be having 9 of those. So for this first one, I need a way to identify this particular box. So I'll just say the ID should be Celsius for this first one. Okay. So let me just add 3 for now. Copy. So for this second one, this will be in Fahrenheit. Then the third one is going to be, this is going to be in Fahrenheit. So this third one over here, I can give it an ID of UV. Then this is going to be maybe I think UV index. So this is, we can just say 1 or 1.0 or something like that. Okay. So for this third, we will leave it just empty like that. So let's check the other ones. So we have the wind speed, the pressure, then the wind degree, the cloud cover, humidity, then wind gust. I'll just like to add everything at once. So when we style at once. Okay. So um, I can just row one, then row two. So for this row two, no, I can just copy the whole of this. Okay, so for this row two, we are going to be having this first one. I can just give it an idea of wind because this is going to be wind gust, I think. Wind speed rather, and the wind speed is calculated in miles per hour. Okay, so for this next one, we are going to be having pressure. So for this pressure, then this title is going to be pressure. Then I can say inches, yes, inches. So the next one that we are going to be working on is the wind degree. Wind degree. Okay. So for the wind degree, the title is going to be wind degree. So let's just put something like 170. So this 170, then maybe the direction of the wind is going to be south. If I save this, you come here, you can see this wind degree direction south. So it is JavaScript that we are going to use to populate the data from the data from the data service provider, from the weather API. So come here, wind degree, then um okay, so we are done with the second row. So the third row. Okay, so for this third row, um for this third row, I'm having cloud, then this will be cloud cover. This cloud cover, we can do something like percentage, maybe 70% or something. So let's use 77 like in the old one. Then after the cloud, we have the humidity. So for the humidity, the title is also going to be humidity. So for the humidity, we can do something like 76 so that everything will not be 30, 30, and 30 as percentage. It's going to be as percentage. So humidity will be as percentage. Then we have the wind gusts. The wind gusts, um, wind gusts. I can return this one to 30 actually. 30. Then miles per hour. Um, this direction south. This should be capital S. Okay. So yeah, I think that will be all for the whole HTML actually. So if I save this and I come back, you see how how uninformed they look. So let's start working on them. The reason why everything is carrying Fira sans is because that is what the body is carrying. So they are inheriting it from the body. from the body tag rather, this body tag over here, this body tag. So let's start working on it. So the summary, we are done with the summary for now. So now the details, which is dot details. So for these details, what do we want to do for the details? So for the details, the first thing that we want to do is to give it a padding of 2 rem. Then I want the background color to be soft bg. Then let the overflow be auto. So if it overflows, just um, show the scroll, but if it is not overflowing, then just hide it. So now that is all for details. Then we have this intro over here. So dot intro. So for dot intro, the font size is going to be maybe 1.5 rem. That is for the intro. Font size is going to be 1.5 rem, and I want it to be playfair display. If you come here, you can see the font is playfair display, just like this other two. The font is playfair display. So at include playfair. Okay. Then the color is going to be the main color. This main color, that will be the color. So let the margin bottom be 1 rem. Let it be 1 rem. Okay. So now let us work on the inner grid. This inner grid over here. This inner grid that I have. So dot inner grid. Before then, let me save this one. So come back here. You see that this is coming into shape. Now the reason why it is showing this scroll bar is because I set it to auto. That's the reason why it is showing the scroll bar. So as soon as we fix these other ones, it will not show the scroll bar anymore. Let's go and fix it. So for the inner grid, display as grid, then the grid template columns, I think repeat 3 times 1 fr. If I save this, exactly. So basically this is another way to say 1 fr, 1 fr, 1 fr. So the gap between each item is going to be 2 rem. So basically we are having 3 rows here. 3 columns rather. We are having 3 columns here. So I'm having column 1, column 2, column 1, column 2, column 3. So no matter the number of items, it will just be adding them to the column as they need to be. So now we can start styling the single item. So for the single item, this inner grid dot single. One of the reasons why I love to use SAS, if you go and check all the SAS file, you can see the SAS over here. This is what our web browser is actually interacting with. This document over here is what you can see, the way he neatly arranged the CSS. Everything is neatly arranged. So for the single, I can have something like background color of maybe the main BG. Okay. Background color of the main BG. Let the width be 100% of the whole container. So the container is this inner grid. So the container is going to be, for example, for this temp over here, the container is just somewhere around here. That is the whole container. So I'm saying that for the background of this single, just span through the whole width of the container. So the width is going to be 100%, border radius 1.25 rem, border radius 1.25 rem, and the padding we can do something like 1 rem. Then the color, we can do something like the main color. Okay. Now if you notice very well, we have a box shadow. You can see the way it's looking now. You can see the way it's looking now. If you notice very well, we have a box shadow. If you come here, you can see the box shadow. You can see the box shadow there. It gives more color to the design. So you can see the box shadow. But if you come here, you can see there's almost no difference between this and the background. Although it is still noticeable, but it is looking better with the box shadow. So let us add the box shadow. So to add the box shadow, so for this single, we are going to be doing something like box shadow. So for the box shadow, we are going to be doing let me say 0 pixels, 0 pixels, then maybe 30 pixels, then 0 pixels. Then I can do RGBA. Then the color is going to be the main color. So for this main color now, for the alpha, I can just have something like 0.2. It will be very faint, 0.2. If I save this and I come back here, you see the way the box shadow is adding color to it. Let me remove this box shadow and show you what it will look like without the box shadow. So come back here, you can see how rickety it is looking, but with box shadow it is looking senatorial. So you can see it is looking better. So that is it for the single. So let's work on the title, the value, and the third, which is this title, value, and third. So for the single, you come here, title. So for the title, the word break, just break all. So margin bottom, maybe 1.25 rem. Then I can do something like font size. So for this font size, I will do something like 0.85 rem because it's the title. So now for the value itself, okay. So for the value, I'm going to be having a font size of 3 rem. So I want it to be very big. Then the font is going to be Playfair, so I'll include font Playfair. Then I'm going to be having margin bottom of 2 rem. Then I want the line height to be 0. Line height to be 0. Okay. Then for this third, I want it to extend. Yes, there's this extend directive that SAS has. So the way the extend directive works is that this third, which is this and this, they share similar properties. So instead of writing all these properties all over again, where is it? Instead of writing all these properties all over again here, I can just extend this. Then I do whatever I want to do. I can modify it whichever way I want to. So dot title, then margin bottom will be 0. If I should compile this, let's look at title and third. So come here. Um, so so you can see what I have over here. So title and third, both of them are having word break, break all, margin bottom, the font size. But if you come down, only third is having margin bottom of 0. So come back to the design. So you can see what it looks like now. You can see what it looks like now. So that is it basically. That is it basically. So, but one thing is that this design is not very good on mobile. So I don't want to spend time explaining how you can make it mobile responsive. But I'm going to add the code there. So I'm going to add the code there. Come back to the main.css. So the first element that we are going to be making responsive is the grid container itself. The grid container itself. So if you come up, so for this grid container that we have, if you come here, and now I want to show you how to write that media query. Okay, so see this media, I said this mixing that we have over here, you can easily use it to write media queries. So that is for smaller screens. Come here and this grid container, so at include screen, below screen rather, then I can do something like 100 pixels. So in screens below 100 pixels, what do I want it to do? I want the width to be 85%. Then the grid template columns, this grid template columns, I want it to be 300 auto instead of 400 auto. I want it to be 300 auto. So if you come back here, you see the grid container somewhere at the beginning. So outer container, grid container, it should be 1000 pixels. If I save this, come back here. Okay, you can see 1000 pixels. So this is the original definition, but under the media query, this is what it's going to look like when the maximum screen 1000 pixels, this is what is going to be executed. So that is how you can write your media queries. So if I should come here and I control shift I, and I'm trying to collapse the screen a bit, so you can see this is now 300 instead of 400. If I should collapse, you can see if I should reduce the size to you can see so it is working fine, 85 pixels. So if I should leave it the way it is originally, this is 400, from here to here is 400 pixels, but if I should reduce it, it goes down to 300. Just this goes down to 300. So that is how you write media queries. So um let me just use this. So if the screen is less than 870 pixels, 870 pixels, I want the width to be 95%. 95%. And also 95%. So the grid template column is going to be 300 auto. No, when it's below 870, just let it be 1FR. 1FR, okay? 1FR. The height is going to be fit content. Mm. So basically, the height of the grid container is going to be whatever height is going to contain the content. That is what I'm saying basically. And as you can see, if it is below 1000 or above 1000, basically the grid template column is going to be the grid is going to be having a two column layout. So this is 400 pixels auto, 300 pixels auto, but when it goes below 870, it's going to be having a single column layout. So basically this will be on top, the summary will be on top, then the details will be below. So let me, this design is going to get squashed now. So you can see what it looks like now. So basically that is it. That is how you write your media query. So let us keep optimizing. So for this summary over here, if the width is at 870, if the width is at 870, then what do I want it to happen? I can give it a border radius actually to make it look nice. So I can do something like the border radius. This border radius is going to be say 0.5 rem, 0.5 rem, 0 and 0. Yes, that'll be the border radius. And yes, the margin top, can be 2 rem, so to give some spacing to the top. So come here, when it is less than it's up, you can see this space on top. So but you can see the curved edges, and if you come here there are no curved edges. Okay, so we move on. we move on so I think that will be all for summary. um I think the next media query we are going to be writing is under details. So for details, if the screen is below 870, the border radius should be 000.50.5. Border radius should be 000.5 rem, then 0.5 rem. Okay, 0.5 rem, 0.5 rem. Then the margin bottom will be 2 rem. Margin bottom can be 2 rem. Then um for this intro, let's reduce the size, let's like align the text center. So at include below screen 870 pixels to text align center. Text align center. Okay, so now for this inner grid we are going to be doing something for this inner grid. So for this inner grid, so the grid template columns is going to be 1fr 1fr. So come here, so instead of 3 I'll be having 2 here. Then when the screen is below 480, when the screen is below 480, what do I want? I want it to just be 1. Okay, so that will just be 1fr. So I think that is all for the media queries. So come here. Okay, so you can see 1fr 1fr. Then if it goes lower, you can see it's having. So I think that will be all for the UI. So we can start working on the using JavaScript to get the data, then request for data. So the first thing I would do is to configure my form. That is the first thing I will do, to configure this form over here, such that when you try to search for something, it will. I want to prevent, number one, I want to prevent the default behavior. Then I'll do it in such a way that anything you enter here, it will automatically make a request to the API service provider before to get data. So basically, I can do something like now I'm working with my JavaScript now, so I can take this one out. So come here, index.js. So for this index.js, I can do something like const form equal to query selector, this form over here, form equal to document dot the query selector. Then I want to select form. Okay, so after selecting the form, I can add an event listener to form. I can do something like form dot add event listener. So the event listener I want to add, it is a submit event. So two ways you can submit my form. You can either type and hit enter, or you can type and use this button, or use this icon over here. So basically this is a button, if you remember very well. This is a button, but then the image is inside the button, so you can just click anywhere in the button and the form will be submitted. don't forget the type of the button is submit. So moving on, then let me use an arrow function. So I can do something like the event dot prevent default. First, this is the first thing you do. You prevent default. Then after preventing the default, you can say let the query equal to form dot query selector. Then what are you querying for? The element with the ID of location. Then after querying, you get the value. So what is wrong with this thing? Okay. So what is happening over here? I'm saying that as soon as you submit this form, the first thing you do is to prevent the defaults. Then let query equal to form dot query selector. So this form over here is going to be the parent container. For this form now, my search, I use the document, which is the whole HTML document, as the parent container. But to get the value of the location search, the text input, I'm trying to look for the form, which is the parent element. Then inside the whole of the form, from this point to this point, look for the element whose ID is location. That is what I'm doing here, which is the text over here. Now if I select the input, the value is anything that you type inside here is going to be taking the value. So how do I test to make sure that I'm on the right track? I can just do something like console.log. So basically I'm logging whatever they are giving me to the console. So query, save this. Before we continue, I would actually advise that if you want to extend your knowledge of the HTML we are working with, the CSS, the SAS, or the JavaScript, we have some tutorials on the channel that can actually help you to um, get grounded in all these things. So if you want to get grounded in JavaScript, if you come to youtube.com/ the @ symbol then halogenous ideas, come under videos. So this video over here, this is the JavaScript video. By the time you'll be watching this video, they might have other uploads on it, but just try to look for this video. You can just use this search button over here to search the channel, not this other one. This will search YouTube, but this button will search the channel. So just look for JavaScript. So you can see it is giving you JavaScript over here. So if you want to, this is the video with which you learn JavaScript, but for HTML, so come here, you can see this is the HTML tutorial over here. Then for CSS, so this is the CSS tutorial, and if you want to learn SAS, so you can see this is the SAS tutorial over here. So all these tutorials, they are very self-explanatory, and you will actually love them. So the SAS tutorial is just 57 minutes. In less than 1 hour, you are good with SAS. So let's get back to business. Okay. So console.log, then query. If I should save this and I come back to my what I'm doing here. So if I say Oslo for example, then I search, you can see I'm logging Oslo to the console. So whatever the user is giving me here is what I'm logging to the console over here. So um, one thing that we're going to be needing in this application is how to get the current location of the person browsing the application. How do you get to the current location? So JavaScript has this navigator built into modern web browsers, so you can easily use the location to get the current position of the person browsing this application. So if you come to this application, the first weather that will be displayed to you is the weather information for your current location. But if the weather service provider doesn't have the weather for your current location, it will give you for the closest, for a closed location. So come here, and the first thing we want to do is to get the current location of the user that is browsing this particular application, so we can show the person their the weather condition of their current location. Okay, so how can we do that? We can do something like const get current location. Okay, so no, get current location is going to be an arrow function. Okay, so I can do something like navigator if navigator dot geolocation. So this is inbuilt into JavaScript. If navigator dot geolocation, you can do something like navigator dot geolocation dot get current position. So this current position you are getting, you are going to be passing a function into it. So you can do something like function. So this function is going to be taking position or whatever variable you like actually, but it's better you use position. So you can say const maybe latitude no, so you can say const latitude equal to the position dot coordinates dot latitude. So that is for latitude. Then for longitude, just do a bit of change. Longitude. Okay, so one thing you can do, you can do something like this: console.log. What are you logging to the console? You can do something like, you can just log the position. Let us start from there. Log the position. So if you log the position only for now, but let us write an else clause. So you can just console.log. Then you can do something like geolocation disabled. Okay, so you can just return -1 just for clarity. So to show that this wasn't successful, you couldn't get the location successfully. So if I should save this and I reload. Okay, I've not called the function. What I did here is just me defining the function. I didn't call the function. So come here and call the function. Okay, come here. Okay, you can see now it is asking me for my location. This is exactly how it will also ask your user their location. So allow. So you can see the coordinates. You can see the coordinates. You can see the coordinates. This is the latitude and the longitude. So if you show the okay, this is just the prop types. So you can see the coordinates. I just need the latitude and the longitude. That is all I need. So for me to show the latitude and the longitude on the console, very simple. So I can just use the JavaScript template. Then I say latitude. The latitude goes to $sign latitude. Then I'll put a comma and say the longitude. The longitude, I can actually use an escape character. Yes, longitude. So then I'll use longitude. Okay, save this and come back here. So you can see the latitude and the longitude only is what is showing me. So that is me getting the current location of the user that will use the application. Okay, so um, so let us work on something right now. The weather API that we are going to be using, this is the weather API over here. This is the weather API over here. This is the weather API. So you can just come here, sign up. Sign up. They will give you an API key in at this particular website, and it is free. So come to weather and geolocation API. If you scroll down, this is the API over here, but and you can see these are the query parameters. So this is what the response is going to look like. You can see it's going to be giving you the location and the current weather details. This is the location over here. So let's start working on it. So I can just say get weather data. So get weather data is going to be an asynchronous function. It's going to be an asynchronous function in case the network or anything isn't allowing the server to return data on time. It won't make the program to malfunction. So const get weather data. Okay, so it's going to be an asynchronous function. So this function is going to be taking longitude equal to 0. It's going to be taking latitude equal to 0. I'm assigning default parameters. Then I'm also going to be having LOC equal to just empty string. So the longitude, the latitude, and the location. Now, one thing you should know is that I can search using a location's name, or I can search using longitude and latitude. If you come here to where the query parameters for the API is, you can see that you can search with longitude and latitude. You just present your data like this, or you can just have your city name. Just Q will be equal to your city name. So the API is somewhere here. Okay, you can see this is the weatherapi.com version 1. Then key will be your API key. Then Q is going to be the query parameter. So let me copy link, then come here. You can do something like let URL equal to an empty string first. So you do a series of check. You say if not longitude. So not longitude means that of um, if the value of longitude is evaluated to false, which is basically 0. If it is evaluated to 0 and the latitude also evaluates to false, then obviously what I want you to do is to do URL equal to template. So this key is going to be your API key and Q equal to bulk. Let's quickly create an account so we can get an API key. Okay, so I can just do tempmail.org. This is a website where you can get temporary emails just to, but I would advise that you use an actual email, because these emails that you create over here, they are just use and dump emails, so you will not be able to access the emails after now. So I just want to use it to get my API key. Okay, so this is the email I'm giving. So um, my account, my account, my internet is failing me. What is wrong with you? Okay, so let me just, no, what am I doing? I want to create an account. Get started. So let me just use this as the username, as the password, and also as the password. So okay, so sign up. Okay, let me just save it. So the account verification, they will send an email. Okay, you can see the weather API support. Okay, confirm. So go to the login page. So login. So what I came here for is basically the API key. That is all I came here for. That is all I came for. So they will create an API key for you automatically. So you can easily use the API key to do whatsoever you wish, whatsoever you wish. Okay, so this is my API key over here. I can just copy it, then come to my code and do something like mm, oh, I'm forgetting something. This should be, yes, sorry about that. So let the API key be equal to this. No. That's not the API key. This is the API key. Okay, so this is the API key. No spaces, please. Okay, so you can see that's the API key over there. So for this URL, the API key is going to be don't forget I'm using JavaScript template, so I can easily bring in this and this, then API key. So for the query, I can just say don't forget this. So you can encode URI components, then by default just look for London. Okay, by default just look for London. So another thing we can add to the API actually is you can say you can add another query parameter. You can do something like and AQI equal to NO. So I got this from one of the sample queries. So this is very valid, don't worry. I got this from one of the sample queries. So HTTP API weatherapi.com current.json, then key equal to the API key, then Q equal to the encode URI component. So basically the longitude and the latitude isn't available. So another thing we can do is else if so basically if the location is not equal to an empty string, that is if it evaluates to true. So this URL that I have, I can just copy this to so that would just be LOC. So if all these other ones fail, then obviously the user must have supplied the longitude and the latitude. So I'm going to be using the longitude and the latitude directly. And if you look at the way they presented the query parameters, where are you? So you can see what I have over here. If I'm using longitude and latitude, I can just say q equal to the longitude comma the latitude. Okay, so come here and copy this. So now I'm using longitude and latitude, so I don't have to encode the URI component anymore. So I can just take that off. So q equal to um, take this one off. So how can I bring in my longitude and my latitude? I can just say q equal to the dollar sign. Then since I'm using templates, I'm at liberty to just inject data. So I can just say the latitude, comma, the dollar sign, then the longitude. So no, dollar sign, then the longitude. Okay. So that is how I can set up my URL first. So now the next thing I want to do is to await, then fetch. Await fetch. What am I fetching? Where am I fetching from? URL. So this is a get response by default, so there's no point adding. So I can just say dot then any response you get, any response you get, just convert the response to a JSON format. let's convert the response to JSON format. Dot then whatever is the result, whatever is the result, all I have to do is to print the result first before we start modifying our data. So I can just say console.log whatever result that we have, which is results. Okay, so if I save this, it is saved, and I hope I don't have any errors. I hope I don't have any errors. Okay, now if you take a good look at this get current location, if you take a good look at this get current location, it will get the longitude and the latitude. What if I use that get current location to query the data directly? So instead of logging the longitude and the latitude to the console, I can um, just query from there. So you can see get current location. So instead of logging the longitude and the latitude like this, I can just get weather data, then latitude equal to latitude, no, then longitude equal to longitude. Now if you take a good look at what I have over here, I have longitude, latitude and LOC, which is for the location basically, and this LOC is an empty string. So with what I have over here, the longitude and the latitude, both of them doesn't evaluate to false, so obviously it will skip this one. Then if location, obviously location is an empty string, so it will also skip this one, so it will just come and work with the longitude and the latitude. So it will go and fetch the data for the longitude and the latitude that I supplied, then it will log the results to the console basically. So that is that about that. If I save this, you see I've saved it, but I don't think Prettier is formatting this code. This particular one, Control Shift F, no, Shift Alt F, I think. So configure the formatter Prettier. So you see that is Prettier formatting the code. So save this and yeah, okay, you can see Prettier formatting the code. Okay, so come back here, JSON native code, console.log results. Something must be wrong somewhere. This is the API key. Um, the index.js line 46. Index.js line 46. Yeah, console.log results with console.log the URL. Something must be wrong somewhere. Okay, so this is the URL. Oh, response.json. Response.json is supposed to be a function, so I think that is my bad. So no, exactly. So it is working fine now. So you can see it is giving me Nasarawa State, Africa, Lagos. No, this is not what it's supposed to give me. I'm in Lagos State and Nasarawa is in the far north. So this address is very wrong. I think the last time I did this, it gave me Ikeja. It gave me Ikeja, which is closer to where I am. It gave me Ikeja. So, but let's continue working with it. I'm very sure it will come back to its senses very soon. So, okay. So Now the get current location for the user basically. But what if the user doesn't permit me to use? Let me block this one. If I should reload, what happens? Nothing happens basically. Nothing happens basically. Although I'm expecting it to log something to the console, which is that um, I'm expecting it to log this to the console, but I guess the JavaScript isn't logging it. One thing that we might do though, in place of that console.log geolocation disabled return -1, I can do something like if this get current location. So I can do something like if not get current location, then just get weather data for maybe London. So you can just say the location will be equal to London. We can also use Manchester actually. So Q is 0 comma Manchester. I think the URL for this, no, it's just supposed to be LOC. No, Z. Longitude, latitude. Q is supposed to be LOC directly. Something is not right. Okay, I think it's working now. So you can see the location is Manchester, United Kingdom, Great Manchester, Europe, exactly. So I would have used London, but I'm a Manchester United fan. Well, it is well. So you can see the longitude, then the latitude as well. So this is the API returning the weather data for Manchester. So you can see the wind kilometer per hour, the wind meter per hour, which is what we are going to be using, the wind speed miles per hour rather. So now that we are sure that we are getting the data, another thing that we should do is this get weather data. Now we are going to be adding it to this form. So every time that you enter a query, it will just call that get weather using your query. Okay, so save this one. So by default it's going to be given Manchester, but if you come here to search for maybe um, one city in Europe that I like, Turin. So you can see Turin, that should be in Italy. Italy, yeah, that's Italy. So the region is Piemonte. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry about that, but I know it's in Europe and it's in Rome. So I know Helsinki, and if I should come to search for it, you can see Helsinki, and I also know Madrid, southern Finland. Madrid, Madrid. Come here. You see Madrid. If I want to search for Barcelona, so you see Barcelona. So now that we are sure that we are getting the accurate data, the next thing we want to do is to start populating the data with start populating our web page with the data that we are getting. Okay, so um, the first thing I want to do is to populate this area over here, this town, region, and country. How can I do that? Very simple. What I would do is I don't need this anymore. I don't need, which one don't I need? Okay, so where console.log result, this is where I'm going to be populating the data. So I can just do something like city, then region. So I can say let the city, um or you can say let area let area equal to, so I'm going to be using a template string. Then I'll bring this one in. Then I'll do something like results, which is what this is going to be giving me, this result. Now this result, I'm going to be indexing the location. If you take a good look at what we have here. Now if you take a good look at the location, where is the location? So this is the location over here. This location part, this key, you can see the values under location, and what I want is the town, region, and the country. So you can see the country is United Kingdom, the region is what, Greater Manchester, the name is Manchester. So basically the name is going to be the town. So come here, result, location, then name. So for the name, I can just come here, write a comma, then after the name, come here, but instead of name, this is going to be region. Then after the region, I'm forgetting my, no, um exactly. So after this, I'm going to be adding a line break string. Then I'll come and add a country. So for the country, that will be location, then country. Okay, so if I come back to my work, okay, I've now added it to the HTML document. I thought I have. So how can I add it to my HTML element? This is area over here. So how can I add it to my HTML element? You use the document object model. So, and you can see this is the ID location board. So come here. So adding it to your HTML document, you can do something like document dot the query selector, then you bring in a string. The ID is going to be location board dot inner HTML. The inner HTML is going to be what? You can also use inner text. Both of them will work in this case. So the inner HTML is going to be area, and that is all about that. So come here, you can see Manchester, Greater Manchester, United Kingdom. Let me put a space between this and this. So if I want to look for Madrid, you can see it is changing Madrid. If I want to look for I know there is a I'm thinking of, let me use Oslo. So you can see Oslo, Norway. So it's working just fine. Okay, so now the next one we want to change is the local time. So, and we are also going to check if it is day or night. So we will also include it there. If you look at what we have here, we have the local time, then we have day or night. So how can we do that? Very simple. So the local time. So for this local time now, let's local time equal to another template string, because it allows me to just inject data at will. So the local time, let me copy this. So location, then local time. If you come to the API over here, If you come to location, then local time, you see this is the local time over here, 1619. So that's the local time. So after the local time, you want to check if it is day or if it is night. So we can also use this, but we are going to be playing a trick here. So instead of location, we will go to current. If you come to current, see what we are going to be having. This is current over here. So it's day. If it is day, it will give you 1. If it is night, it will give you 0. Okay. So location, local time, then current is underscore day. Then you use the ternary operator. So equal to 0. Use the ternary operator. If that is equal to 0, then I'm making a mistake somewhere. Okay, so if the ternary operator, if this is equal to 0, bring in the ternary operator, then you are going to be having nights, else you are going to be having day. So that is just it. That is just it. So how do we add it to our HTML code? So you can see the location, the time. This is local time, then the line break, then we have day or night. So the ID is what? Local time. So you can just say copy. So you see what I have now, the local time, but this is going to be local time. If I save this and I come back here, okay, no problem. I think it is network. Okay, so Greater Manchester. Local time is not defined. Local time is not defined. Okay, I made a mistake. This is where local time is defined. So I called it outside of its scope. Come here. You see, this is the local time, and you can see day. It is working just fine. If you go to another country, Oslo, you see the local time have changed, and you can see it is night time in Oslo. So let me look for Lagos. So you can see 1623. Time is very correct. Okay, so now that is local time. So let us change the figure which is this over here, this 31. If we come here, this 31 over here, let us change the 31. How can we change the 31? We can even do that one directly. So changing the figure. How do you change the figure? You can do something like document dot query selector. So you select using the ID. You can select using the class as well, but I'll just go with the ID. Query selector dot value equal to so current temp, then C, um, without current temp underscore C, current then temp underscore C. Now if you come to the API, if you come here, you will see current, then you see temp underscore C. That is what we are going to be having here. You can see this is 32. This is the temperature in Celsius, temperature in Fahrenheit. Now you can see all these keys over here. If we come to the weather API, there is a place where they explained everything. So they explained everything somewhere here. So you can just go just check the documentation. The documentation there's a place where they explained the meaning of, yeah, exactly. So this is it over here. So the last updated, you can see temp C, temp F feels like, then the condition icon as well, which is what they'll be giving us, then the wind degree, the wind direction, and all those. So knock yourself out. So this is current, then temp C. So we are done with the figure. Now the next thing we want to change is the description. Yes, the description, which is this mostly cloudy that we have over here. How can we do that? Very simple. So for this description, let us select using the class. So changing description. So document dot query selector. So you query selector, you select using the class, which is the description. So for this description, you are saying that dot value. Actually, I would have loved to use inner HTML over here. inner inner text actually, but the value works too. But I think I'll keep it as inner text. Inner text value works, but I'll just keep it as inner text. Okay. So inner HTML, inner text, both of them will work. So result, that is for the description. So for this description, what part of the API gives us the description? I think it's under condition. Condition, then we have the condition, then we have the text, condition text. So come here, the current, the condition, then you index the texts. Okay. So save this. Let's reload it. Okay, so light rain in Manchester. So let's change this image over here. Let's change this image over here. So how are we going to change the image? First, let's get the URL of the image. Current, condition, then this icon over here. You can do something like, let's URL img equal to condition, come here, and condition, then the icon. Yes, condition icon. Okay, so one thing that we want to do is to say URL img. We do a bit of string manipulation over here, because if you look at what they are giving us, they are giving us slash slash cdn dots, which, but what we want to use is https, then the colon, then double backslash. So come here. Basically, they're giving us this, then cdn dot blah blah blah. But what we want to use is http dot slash slash cdn dot blah blah blah. So how can you work on that? Very simple. Just URL img dot replace. There's this string function in JavaScript. So just replace the double backslash with the https dot slash slash. So that is all. So now you can do something like document dot query selector. What are we selecting? This image over here. So can select it in the ID. Query selector. Select it using the ID, then you can do something like .src. So basically this src attribute is what we want to change. .src equal to whatever the API sends us. Whatever the API sends us. which is url img. So I think that will be all for this summary side. Okay, you can see it is changing just fine. So let me use Oslo. You can see the image is changing and the text Turin. You can see Turin. So Madrid. You see it's turning Madrid, Florence. So it's an overcast in Florence. So now all we have to do is just to work on this, changing the data for these cards over here, and we are good to go. So how do we do that? How do we do that to make it faster? If you look at everything we did here, if you look at everything we did here, there is a way we could have written less code somewhere here. How could we have done that? We can come here, write a class, and the class will just be a utility class. Const. You can do something like const. You can say set summary. Then you can come and say selector comma, can say selector comma value. So no, is equal to an arrow function. Okay, so selector comma value, then we can just basically bring this one. So I can just use the template. So I can just say $sign the selector, then what we have over here is going to be the value. Okay, so now how do we apply it? For this first one over here, so you can just say, instead of saying document.query selector, you can just set summary. The summary you are setting, what is the selector? The selector is the location board. And what is the value? The value is area. So copy. For this next one over here, the selector is local time. The value is local time. So for this figure, copy, then this is going to be the value. So for the description as well, no, for the description, what do you want to do? Copy this, paste this, copy, then paste, comment this one out, then you have this one. So we won't be able to do for this one because you know it is SRC. So if you come back here, everything should be working fine. You see everything is working just fine. Everything is working just fine. Come here, change it to Oslo. You see everything is working just fine. Madrid, Madrid, let me see, Helsinki. You see, it is working just fine. So it is very cold in Helsinki. Pray for the people of Helsinki. So it is mostly cloudy. What of Turin? It is also mostly cloudy. What is happening? What of in Peru? Okay. What of in Algeria? Okay, this is not detecting for Algeria. That is for the API. What of Freetown? So I think it's not changing for the description. I don't know why, but it is supposed to change for description. Perhaps it's because for the description it is inner text that we can use. Wow, I think it's not changing for the description. It's not changing for the description. So we have to go with this. We have to go with this. So this can only work for a selected few, but let's just leave it like that. What I'm just trying to show you is that try to reduce the amount of code you have to write. So you can see just this small utility function. We were able to use it to reduce the number of code. So imagine that you have a lot of data over here to populate. So document dot query selector, you put it in. No, you should write less code. So let us start populating for this one. For this one, we are also going to be writing a utility function. So the utility function, we can do something like const set data. Okay, so this set data is a function that is going to be taking the ID that we want to set and the data. So this data is going to be an object. So this is going to be an arrow function. So this arrow function can say let's, so the ID basically, if you, let's close this one. So you can see this Celsius over here. It is this Celsius that will give me. So the first thing I want to do per all of the cards that I have, all the single cards, I will select the parent element, which is this one first. So you can say let's parent equal to, let's parent equal to document.query selector the ID dot query selector, then you can also use get element by ID. Let us use get element by ID. Get element by ID. So this get element by ID, just put in the ID. So that will be for the parent. So you will now, if you take a good look at what I have over here, this is the parent. Now I want to select the value, just the value. So you can just say parent dot query selector, the query selector, then dot value. So for all of them, after selecting this first one, now I want to select this value over here, dot value dot inner text. So for this inner text, I'm going to be having data value. Okay, so if we are taking cognizance of this wind degree over here, as we are populating this particular data, we also have to work on this direction as well. So that is the only one where we have to do it. So to make room for that, all we have to do is just if the data contains a key third in data, then what do I want to do? Very simple. Parent.query selector Okay, so parent dot query selector third inner text equal to data third. Okay, no, this is supposed to be, so bring this into it. Okay, so that is the set data function. That's the set data function. So let's start using it to populate the all these cards that we have. I believe that's the last thing we have to do. So now populating the cards. So populating the cards, come here. So for this first one, it's just temp, Celsius, then Fahrenheit, then UV index. Okay, come here. Let us start with Celsius. So basically, set data. So the set data, we are going to be having the ID as Celsius. Then what is going to be the value? The value is going to be an object, and the object is going to be having a key of value, then results, current, then temp underscore C. That is the temperature in Celsius. So come here and look at what I have over here. This is 30, right? If I should save this, remove this. If I should save this and I come back here, you see that I have 9 here and I have 9 here, so it works. Let's do for the remaining ones. So for this first one, so for the second one, I'm having Fahrenheit. So this will be temp F, I think. If you come here and you open this location over here, current, you can see temp C, then the temperature in Fahrenheit. So it is working as needed. So the third one is the UV index. So for the UV index, you can see the ID is what? UV. So UV, then I think this is UV. If you check the UV, you see UV. So that is for UV. Then for wind speed, so wind speed, this is wind, then I think this is wind mph, wind underscore mph. So for pressure, for this pressure over here, copy. So you can see that this is pressure, the ID for this one is pressure. No, this is copy pressure. So the pressure is going to be in inches, I think. So pressure, yes. No, this is the precipitation. Yeah, pressure in inch. So pressure in inch. So that is for pressure. There we have the wind degree. So this is the wind degree over here. So don't forget that we also have to work on this direction as well. So for the wind degree, okay, wind degree we have current. That is for the value, for this value over here, the data that will be under this value is going to be current. Then I think wind degree, copy, then come here and paste. So that is for the wind degree, but don't forget we have third over here, so copy. So what is going to be the value? We are going to be using another template string. So basically our template string is going to be direction. So this, okay. So I think it is current wind degree. So this should be wind direction, dir. I think this should be wind direction. So let's just confirm it. Wind direction, yes. This should be west, north, then west. So for the wind degree, I think we are done with that. Let me use this one. So this is cloud. So for the cloud, 77%. Come here for the cloud. Okay, this is cloud over here, just cloud. Okay, so we're almost done. So after the cloud we have the humidity. So I think it is also for humidity here. Yes, humidity. So after humidity we have wind gusts. So for wind gusts, come here, wind gusts. I think it's this one. Wind gusts mile per hour. Okay. So just to be sure, let's check everything. The Celsius, the Fahrenheit, the UV, the wind, the pressure, the wind degree, then it also has a third, then the cloud, humidity, wind gust. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. So I think we are done. Come here and you see all the data populates properly. So Oslo, um, okay, this is Oslo. So you can see the wind direction is east. Temperature in Fahrenheit 48.2. So Madrid, you see Madrid. So then how about Turin? You see. Then how about Helsinki? You see. Okay, it is not giving me the accurate image. It is not getting the image for this Dubai. Okay, you can see the time and date. You can see the time and the weather data for Dubai. Then New Delhi. So you can see the data for New Delhi. Then um, what other town can I think of? What other town? Rio de Janeiro. Um, I must have misspelled it. Rio de Janeiro. Okay, you see Rio de Janeiro. So everything is working perfectly. So I think we need to give ourselves a pat on the back. So the last thing we need to do is just to upload to GitHub, then we host it using GitHub Pages. So if you see what we have here, this is just an empty GitHub repository. But now we have some few files. You can see the asset, the index.html. Make sure that your the main file is index.html. Make sure it is index.html. So it will upload the source, the JavaScript, everything. So now for us to upload, I will open my terminal. So this is the weather app. If I just say dir, so you can see all my files over here. Uploading to GitHub, it won't take it won't take a minute. It won't take 30 seconds if my network doesn't fail me. So the first thing you want to do is to git add all. Okay, git commit -m first push. Okay, so after committing, the next thing is to git push. See what I have now. So if I go back to reload my weather app page, so you see what I have now, working just fine. So you see the weather application tutorial. So the content I wrote here as the readme.md content, you can see the readme.md content is what is giving me the whole of this. So if I want to check the index.html file, you see this is the index of .html file that we wrote. If you want to check the JavaScript file, this is the JavaScript file. If you want to check the SAS file whatsoever, you can check them here. So but I want to host it with GitHub now. What do? You come to on the repository, you come to settings, then come to GitHub pages. Yes, come to pages. So what you want to do, the branch that you want to deploy is the main one. So just save. Then after saving, you wait for maybe 5 or 3 minutes. Just wait for a few minutes. A few minutes. Then you reload this page again. It will show you the link through which you can view the document online, where it is hosted online. So you can just share it with anybody to check out the what you have done. Okay, so you can see the link over here. So they will give you a URL, a link through which you can view your application hosted on GitHub for free. So if you go to visit site, so you can see our weather application. So if I allow, so normally it is supposed to get the longitude and the latitude, then it will use it to get the data. Okay, I think it is expecting us to call it using HTTPS. So wait, I know what to do. So if you come to index.js, so this URL that we are having over here, if we call it using HTTPS and HTTPS, will it still work fine? Because okay, I think it works fine. I think it works fine. Allow, done. Save. Okay. Okay, it works fine with HTTPS. So I think that is what is okay. So git add all, git commit using HTTPS, then git push. Okay, so now we are using HTTPS, and if you check the GitHub, if you come to the code itself, You see that the JavaScript, where's the JavaScript? Okay, the JavaScript. You can see it is now HTTPS, no longer HTTP, HTTPS. So okay, so I was able to solve the problem. So what I did was that basically I changed the, you can see this HTTPS. Instead of using HTTP, I use HTTPS, and I had to upload, I had to create a new repository. So this is the new repository I created. I had to create a new repository, then I deployed from this repository. I created a new repository, I deployed from this repository. So most likely I'm going to be deleting the old one that we created. This first one, I'll be deleting it because I have no use for it. So I'll be deleting it. So that is how you can, while you are watching the video, I'll make sure I drop a note there to use HTTPS and not HTTP. So this is the new, this is the weather application over here working just fine. So if I should reload it, you see it is showing Manchester first, then it is showing this one. So the quick fix for it, but this is not where I'm supposed to edit this. So if you come here, file, open folder, so you can see this is the second repository. So what I will do here is that I will open my index.js file. So what I did down here, that if not get current weather location, so what happened here is that it will try to get the current location, but while this one is running, it will quickly go and run this one, thinking that this one is returning false, which is not true. So what I will do is I will bring this one, I will bring it out, I'll make it independent. Okay, so this other one that I have over here, I'll copy it, then I will bring it inside that get weather location. So if you get the location, if if this is returning true, it is fine. But if it is not returning true, come and make a call. Come and make a call. So the location is going to be Manchester. So I can make do with this. So save this. Then let me push it to GitHub. Git add all git commit minus m second push git push. Okay, so it will push it to GitHub for me. Then come back here, so you can search for Oslo. You can see the weather image for Oslo. I don't know why this isn't showing, just like it did on the local machine. Madrid. So that is for Madrid. Then if we are looking for there's a town called Liverpool. Okay, so you can see so it is working just fine. It is working just fine. Liverpool. Let me look for one more. Istanbul. Istanbul. So you can see for Istanbul, if you want to look for Venice, so, or the Vatican City, so it is working just fine. It is working just fine. So it has been a long tutorial. Thank you very much for watching till the end. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like our videos. Subscribe to the channel and like the video to give us support. You can also drop a comment if you're having any issues with anything or you just want to make inquiries. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.